Hi everybody, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us. Good to be back. I was away yesterday due to Auckland anniversary. So let's take a look and see what's going on, because there is a lot going on. We have a tropical cyclone which is heading towards New Zealand, especially the South Island. This is it up here. It is called Cyclone Fairhigh, at least I think it is. I'm not 100% sure about the pronunciation there, but this is the storm. It's category 1. Winds are gusting up to around 100 kilometers an hour, and the system is dropping south like this, but it runs into this blocking area of high pressure. Lows take the path of least resistance. They don't run into high pressure systems. When they do that, they fall apart. It's called wind shear. This system's going to come around the outer edges of it. Now, you'd think it was go to Australia, but remember the high is actually drifting eastwards away from New Zealand into the Pacific Ocean, further out over it, and that allows the system to come on in, and that's why the South Island is likely to be the area where it makes landfall, which is not common. It does happen, but not very often. So this is an unusual system. Here's the latest tracking from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. That's the US government. And you can see we've overlaid it with Google Earth. So it's up here around New Caledonia, category 1. It'll remain like that till it drops a little bit down, basically towards Norfolk Island. Once it gets to about that area, it's likely to become a tropical depression. It will lose its warm core, and that means it changes a little bit and can deepen. The whole system kind of changes shape as it comes into New Zealand. They all do this. So the system will be coming in. This area you see here, that's called the cone of uncertainty. In other words, that's where the low could track, the center of it. It is most likely to be in the middle of it, and that pushes it down towards the South Island. Now this is the map from the Fiji Met Office. As you can see, once again, they've got a similar track there, pushing it in to the west coast. So when we move along now, this is the Wednesday setup, our big high, moving further away to the east. And this is an enormous high. Look at the size of it. That's also helping to push stronger winds across the country. That is it here, a windy day. So it's still a hot one for many eastern areas. You've got a strong westerly blowing through, but the clouds are a bit thicker. There'll be a bit of high cloud as well. And there's an area of rain that is actually going to link up with this system. And that's the great news for Southland and Otago, which are in drought. So very good to see some rain coming in there. That is one of the positives of the system. The North Island, humid. Look at the airflow coming further out of the tropics. Your humidity starts to go up. Thursday is D-Day. That's when the system comes in. It is a storm. We've got gale force to hurricane force winds wrapped around it. Those are damaging winds. Where will the damaging winds be? That's a trickier one to answer, because generally speaking, they are all the way around it, but then we've got the mountains and ranges in the way as well, and that really does throw a spanner in the works. We're likely to see damaging winds here. This is a very, very strong nor'wester. It'll be gusting stronger in other areas, perhaps on the mountains and into Canterbury side, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll push all the way to the coastline. So we still need a couple more days. Well, we can't have a couple more, but another day to kind of fine tune it a little bit further. The air pressure, very low, down into the 960 hectopascal range, we believe. That is definitely storm status. And then on top of all of that, you've got the rain, very, very heavy. One of the positives is that the rain will at least be falling in a rainforest, Fiordland. That's where the worst of the rain will be, and in Westland, but there could also be some very heavy falls that go right up that western coastline. And on top of the king tides we've got because of the supermoon, on top of the big strong winds coming through, and the fact that the lower the air pressure, the higher the sea goes up. In fact, that could push another 30, 40, 50 centimeters on top of the sea. So there could be coastal flooding that occurs, especially around high tide, around some of the mouths of the rivers, if they are flooding. So this is quite a serious system. Hopefully it's not going to be causing too many problems in the populated areas, but look at that. I mean, it is pretty nasty. The North Island's not as exposed to it, but you do get the tropical northerlies, very humid, wet weather. There could also be isolated flooding in the North Island as a result of that rain. Then we go to Friday. That is the rain band there moving across. That's the one with the heavy falls for the North Island. But look, the isobars are spaced apart. It's not stormy up there. It's just heavy downpours slowly tracking across, blocked by that high. Now this is leftover low pressure from the storm. The storm's actually dropped down into the Southern Ocean, but there'll be a secondary area of low pressure that just sort of keeps going. That will produce, there's a colder southerly amongst that. The humidity drops, the heat wave's over, and you'll also find that this rain is a lot lighter, patchier sort of stuff. In the North Island, a couple of showers, that's the rain there. Now to the weekend. and it gets a little messy into the weekend too. We've got the leftovers of that system. There's some low air pressure out there. We've got a southeasterly flow that could produce a bit of shower activity on the eastern side of both islands, maybe some drizzle, maybe a little bit of patchy rain, but plenty of dry spells as well, especially on the western side. But you've got this area of low pressure very close, so it gets a little bit complicated. So that's the forecast up until Saturday. There's obviously a lot to go between now and then. We'll give you another update tomorrow with the latest, and of course weatherwatch.co.nz now has daily updates on the system, and we'll be stepping those up once the system gets into the New Zealand area. That's all from me. We'll update you again tomorrow.